Because here's the paradox. Waiting until you feel ready often means you never actually get there. And I know you probably know this. You're hearing it. I know I'm trying the same things over and over again. As so many leaders believe you need to get it together or wait till the storm passes. We're just going to stay the course before asking for help. Well, what if the very reason you're stuck is because you're trying to do it alone? What if the help that you need can't wait until you feel ready, though? And that clarity and support are what might actually create the space and not the other way around. Because here's the truth, and you may not have looked at it this way in the past. Support isn't a reward for getting it all together. Overwhelm, reaction mode, and just keeping up are the old way.
You need real, root-level strategies and practical steps to grow your business or ministry without exhaustion and burnout.
Hi there, we're Anna Saucier
And Megan Gephardt,
best friends and business consultants who help faith-filled women create sustainable growth through simple strategy with a people-first approach.
Here at Apostolic Fruit, we hope to offer you clarity, support, accompaniment, and healing,
one tiny step at a time. Have you ever found yourself saying, I know I need help, but I just need to get my stuff together first. I just need to get organized. Or maybe I want support. I deeply desire to be supported, but things are too crazy right now. And I'll wait until there's more breathing room. Or I just need to get through this event. Or once I have more time, once things open up, I can finally take the step. Just need to clean up some of my mess, and then I can ask for help. If so, you're in good hands and you're good company. This episode is for you. This is one of the most common things we hear from visionary leaders. And I've spoken it in my own heart many times. High capacity women, high achievers who are doing brilliant work and courageously changing the world. You're holding a lot and you're not failing. You're human. It's very normal and valid to speak this way and want to gently challenge its authority. Because here's the paradox. Waiting until you feel ready often means you never actually get there. And I know you probably know this. You're hearing it. I know I'm trying the same things over and over again. As so many leaders believe you need to get it together or wait till the storm passes. We're just going to stay the course before asking for help. Well, what if the very reason you're stuck is because you're trying to do it alone? If you've been doing it alone in the past, that's what's kept you alive and kept things going. And sometimes we want to stay stuck in that. What if the help that you need can't wait until you feel ready, though? And that clarity and support are what might actually create the space and not the other way around. Because here's the truth, and you may not have looked at it this way in the past. Support isn't a reward for getting it all together. And that space that you deeply desire, it doesn't come from more time, from having more time. It won't magically appear. In fact, you know this, that it's true that, I don't know the actual word for this, but things expand to make the space that's available to them, and time works that way as well. What you have to do will expand into the time you have available. So the space that you desire comes from creating more clarity and in working in partnership or community. We all need a sounding board. We need to do this with other people because they can see us in a way that we can't see ourselves. There is deep, deep value in letting someone meet you in the mess and where you are right now. In order to unshame the fact that you're there in the first place, that you're there and that the mess is there, it also helps you to simplify your focus, opens room for where there are the bottlenecks present, and it creates a more aligned structure that gives you freedom to flow and feel in the way you want to feel inside your business again.
Yeah, thanks, Anna, for opening up there. And I want to share a story to illustrate a bit of this and probably speak into your heart. If you're in a similar place, you're going to resonate with this. So a few weeks ago, Anna and I had the privilege of connecting with an incredible Catholic woman who has been leading her apostolate virtually solo, basically, for the last 20 years. And she's made an incredible impact, and she's got a really deep, beautiful, admirable love for this mission. But underneath it all, and we observed this as soon as we got on the call with her, she's tired, she's exhausted. And when we spoke, she also confided in us what we hear from so many others. Okay, I've worked with a coach before, it didn't work. I left with more to-dos, or I was really disappointed. I felt like I didn't get the return on investment, or I just got left with basically more ideas, and I need a way to actually sustain this. And so she's very validly weary in this place. And again, we saw it in her body language, we heard it in her voice. And what we told her is what we want to tell you right now as well. We deeply see you in the weight that you are carrying, and how much this mission matters to you and to the humans that you serve, and how much it's mattered for as long as you've done it and all that you've poured into this. And even in the heaviness for her, we saw and observed this spark. I told Anna afterwards, as soon as we got off the call with her, I was like, I saw this spark that flickered to life when she talked about the people that she serves and why she got started and what has kept her going in these stories and the real life moments that have made it all worth it. That spark, it was a little bit buried. It was a bit dimmed, but it was still burning even when she was trying to do everything that she could really to keep that fire going. And so not every woman who's at what we love to call a pivotal growth point is in a really high growth, high traction point in their business. You have a team, things are really moving and growing, and there's lots of momentum. Sometimes it's quieter. Sometimes it's this stage where you're feeling it in a different way, but you still have that resounding sense of, I can't keep going like this. Like, I can't do it anymore in the way that I have been doing this. Because maybe for you too, like this woman that we connected with, your passion, your purpose, they're still alive somewhere inside of you, even if they have been dimmed by maybe the exhaustion of the logistics or the decision fatigue or just trying to do it all solo and wearing way too many hats. And so we just want to hold that space for you and support you in reconnecting to that spark and ultimately building the sustainability for it without adding more to your plate, but just giving you that breathing room to move forward differently.
Yeah, an important thing here that I think we do need to address is why we got here. What's often beneath what's going on in the shame and in this feeling of, I need to get this together before asking for support. And it is shame. It's shame behind operating in this kind of survival mode and a fear of being seen as messy or overwhelmed or not having it all together. Can you relate to that? Like the shame and the fear? I want to ask you to pause and see if that fits. And I want to help to understand where it comes from. And many of us were conditioned from childhood to feel ashamed of mess. We have messy rooms, messy emotions, big emotions. Often we're shut down. For most of us, unfinished things, unfinished schoolwork. You're sitting there and someone says, well, you haven't finished. What's wrong with you? We were taught to clean up and to finish before someone else looks at our work, and to hide it if we don't know how to finish it, to figure it out, and to fix ourselves before someone else can take a look at it, or at least finish first. So we can see all of these past narratives that get internalized. And so now as adults, as grown women, as business owners, these same patterns play out. It gets normal internally. So you're going to wait until you feel ready and that you can get help when things calm down, when you feel more settled, when you feel like you've fixed your problem and now somebody can look at it. But I want you to understand the disconnect here, that came from those narratives, and it doesn't mean that that's right or wrong, because your mess is not a moral failure. It's not wrong to be unfinished. It's not wrong to have a mess, even if that's what you were told and conditioned to believe at a young age. It's part of your humanity. This is part of the human experience. We are in a mess for the rest of our lives, whether we like it or not. And you deserve support right there in that.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, oh man, that last part of just like, this is our life. Like, we're going to be in a mess. I think about this concept of things that are unfinished, and in a lot of the clients that we've been supporting in a strategic partnership capacity, or even as I come into work in strategic mapping with clients, there's so much, especially as visionaries, you've got a million ideas and like your capacity is not big enough to bring all of those ideas to fruition. So you probably have like 10,000 different projects that are half finished or just gotten started, and you just so deeply desire to see them through the finish line, but you haven't had the space to make that happen. And now you're also carrying the shame and guilt about that too. And so, yes, I think that's such an important point. And even in the work that we do together, often Anna and I, like, we're wrestling with this internal narrative of like, okay, everything should be at a point of completion and perfection before I even hand it off to you to review it, to get another set of eyes on it. So we're with you in this too.
Yeah. But often that we find in practices, we encourage ourselves to do it differently. Is you get a different perspective. You get something that you wouldn't have had if you were just trying to do it alone. And it's often way more valuable.
Yeah. So we can wait until we get to the point where we run ourselves into the ground, basically trying to see everything through to completion or untangle what feels like knots sometimes in the behind the scenes of our business. Or we see, waiting until you hit a breaking point of burnout or breakdown or a team crisis, or you hit that point of like, well, I just feel like I've got to quit because this is just no longer working, or I've got to burn it all to the ground. I can't sustain this. But we want to invite you to think about support as something like we can get to the left of that, right? There is so much more room for an expansiveness inside the business, as well as breakthrough by just being open to saying yes when we're kind of in the middle of it, even what feels like in the middle of the mess or in the middle of the chaos, but not just after it all comes to a head or we cross that threshold where it's all coming crashing down, right? So we want to invite you to a few better questions to ask. Just give you a little bit of a comparison here. So instead of, okay, can I afford to get support right now? Maybe ask yourself, what is it costing me to not have the support that I need? And again, we're not making any judgments on this. We're not looking at this with shame. We just want to invite you to look at this curiously for yourself. So that's the first one, is what is it costing me to not have the support that I need? Where am I potentially even spinning? We see a lot is like spinning and swirling in either confusion or doubt or uncertainty, not having clarity. And how much time and energy is that costing you? Okay, the second one is instead of, I should wait until I have space, I want to invite you to ask, could this support be what helps me to create space? And just let yourself be open to the possibility of support being something that opens room. Okay.
I just think of being in math class. We're talking about where this kind of shame came from. You think you're in this math class and you've got a whole paper in front of you that you got to finish, and you're struggling through the first three, and you don't know, there's some confusion about it, and you don't know where you're going, and there's something you don't understand. And if you ask somebody, hey, can you explain this to me? And they explain it to you, and then there's a much greater understanding, and how much more space, then you say, oh, and then the rest of them feel so different because there was something that you weren't quite seeing. And imagine the difference that it makes on one sheet of paper in math class.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things. Like we all desire clarity and direction. And if we don't have that, then everything else feels so much heavier and more confusing and more clunky. And we're now running a lot of different directions and not really sure if that's even the right direction in the first place or the direction that'll really move the needle forward. So another one that we want you to get curious about is if now doesn't feel like the right time to get support, I want to invite you to ask yourself, how long have I been saying this? How long have I been waiting for the right time for something or space to open up, or telling myself, okay, I'm going to rest in my business when I get through this launch or when I get through this next thing, or once I get a few more clients, I can finally take a little bit of a breather, right? There's many ways we do this to ourselves, but we are often waiting for the right time in a lot of different ways. And even when it comes to like celebrating our wins, we often are just rushing to the next thing without even taking a space to pause. And so ask yourself instead, like, what if now is the time to take that pause or to be supported differently? All right, Anna, I want to invite you to share what this could look like from a metaphor about decluttering. You're the minimalist out of the two of us, and you personally helped me work on decluttering my house. And I would just love for you to be able to describe our philosophy in its comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I really leaned into this when we were doing the inner work course last year, and we had somebody in it who is actually a decluttering coach. I thought of it, and I thought of her coming in and helping people. And I feel like this is a core metaphor for our whole consulting philosophy, where you could probably relate to wanting to declutter your home. It feels overwhelming. You don't know where to start. There's all these different rooms. There's stuff all over the place. And if you have kids, there's more stuff, meaning there's more all over the floor, right? And you probably also have desired help with this. I know Megan has expressed this to me. Like, I would love for somebody to come in and help me. And I got to do that while I was with her in person last year. But we have the desire for the support in it. And also, there's a lot around it. So I want to talk about two different kinds of support that would come in this situation. So imagine consultant A shows up with trash bags and boxes. They come in quickly with a lot of movement energy. They start grabbing things and throwing them in the trash or throwing them in the bags or boxes. They're making fast decisions. They're pressuring you to let go and get over it. Their energy is very fast and furious and forceful. And yet, even those items that have memories, we have too many frames on the wall. Let's pull some of these down. Even if you weren't ready to let go of something, she doesn't ask permission. She just throws things in. And she assumes that the more mess we get rid of as quickly as possible, the more productive we can be and the more space there will be. Now, while that's true, the way we do it matters. So now let me share about Consultant B. Consultant B walks in gently. She knocks, she waits for a response, she waits to be invited into the house. She asks for a tour around the house to get oriented to what's inside. She leads with curiosity and compassion, and asking you to share what areas feel the most stressful, feel like hotspots of clutter or places that give you friction on an hourly basis. She asks which parts feel the biggest and most overwhelming, where you know it needs an overhaul, but you don't know where to begin. And you may feel the defeat before you even pick up one thing to put it away. She continually asks permission to begin clearing each of those priority spaces that causes the stress so that you can begin to feel the relief and breathe a little easier. And then she does that again, and she does it again, and she keeps asking questions, and she listens to your stories and what you've been through. The survival mode that has led to the mess, or the meaning behind things. And she waits until you're ready to let go. And she holds space. You're just going to make me cry. And she holds space for the loss that's present in letting something go. And she continually reassures you that there's no judgment or shame in where you're at right now. You are good as you are, and she creates this kind of safe space to be seen in the mess and to let it go. And so I want to ask you, which one would you want present? Because here's the thing, while I can relate to this story and you may feel the feelings here, it's not just about the clutter and the messiness that's going on in the business. It's not just about the back end and maybe more dysfunction than you know you can handle or would be optimal. It's about the internal experience that you are having, because you're not just organizing operations here or making transactional sales. You're building and birthing something that comes from deep within you. It is a very personal thing. And there's been a significant journey and many life experiences that have led you here. And your story matters here. If you choose to work with us one day, or maybe you already are, we're not here to throw things out and do this as forcefully or as quickly as possible. We're the second kind of consultant. And I want to invite you to treat yourself this same way as well. We believe you don't need more pressure to do this. You need to feel safe enough to receive support, even in the middle, in the messiness of it all. And then we can start to gently open the spaces and the breathing room according to your capacity and get to the deeper cleaning at the pace that's honoring for you.
Just over here making me cry, Anna.
Yeah.
And I have personally been on the receiving end of Anna supporting me in that way for a number of years before we even began to collaborate together. And I can attest to how different of an approach it is and how healing it is to be able to be supported in that way when you have been used to being supported in the really forceful, pressured way, or in ways that to do things before you were really ready. And it's just so, so deeply honoring of the whole person. And so I just wanted to say that too from personal experience. Yeah, and it's just a gift to be able to hold that space for other people.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's such an important point of it. It feels so different on the giving and the coaching and consulting end as well. We've experienced clients who have been trained to do the push and the fast and let's get this cleared up and cleaned up as quickly as possible. And it doesn't feel right. And they struggle with that because this is what they're taught to do. But it doesn't feel good. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah. And that could apply across so many areas of the business. So your marketing, things that don't feel right. And yeah, a lot of it. So I want to move into another piece of this conversation that I think is really important that we see a lot. It's this either or trap. This hard truth that we see often when you're at this crossroads point and you're holding this tension between what's immediately in front of you, which already probably feels overwhelming. Like, let's just be honest, right? Maybe it's the next big event, maybe it's the next launch or client deadlines, or you've got a big conference coming up, things for your family. Like you've got an already full plate and you desire, okay, yes, I want sustainability. Like I want a long-term business model that supports the space I want for life. And I also want this to be financially fruitful and sustainable and life-giving. And you know you need to tend to that longer term structure. But you feel that tension of like, well, I've got to get through this next thing in order to be able to even focus on the long-term structure, right? And so this is a really common space of burnout, even when you know that longer term sustainability needs desperate attention. Right. So when it feels like too much is on your plate, the default is like, hopefully I can get through this thing in one piece and then I will figure the rest out. I'm slammed right now. Like I can't give my time to one more thing. And we deeply get that. And we want to open up this space for, well, what if it doesn't have to be an either or? Either survive the event, the thing right in front of you, then fix it all after. Or like, I'm going to stop everything now and restructure. So here's what we've seen and what we have done with clients is let's navigate this with the both and. You don't have to wait until it all calms down. We can begin now gently with support that helps you both like in the weeds of you're just trying to wade through, like you're just trudging through the mud right now. It's right in front of you and build at the same time the sustainable foundation that you actually need. So I want to share a story of one of our clients who recently did just that. She had a really big vision and several major conferences coming up. It's 2 conferences ended up turning into basically 4 when she was asked to be a keynote speaker at another and then deliver her own pre-conference ahead of the other one. She is just so absolutely brilliant. And she had done strategic mapping with me, got immense clarity and direction from that, and then realized, okay, I'm going to need some high-level support to not only plan, but actually bring this into life. She was going to be hiring and integrating a new team member, really working on the systems to streamline and automate and build more of those sustainable operational foundations while navigating an already full plate. Does that sound familiar to you, knowing kind of what's needed next maybe in your business right now? And so there's a lot. It's a lot going on. So not only was she trying to create that longevity, but also like, well, I've got these major deadlines right in front of me. And so in this example, she didn't choose between. She opened space for both. And again, she shared just how deeply supported she has felt, not just surviving through those conferences or just getting through them, but feeling truly held. She literally sent me this message. I have the screenshot in front of me. I'm sitting down this morning, I'm just reorienting myself to the week, and I'm filled with so much gratitude, looking back on the conference, and you both just really helped carrying me across the finish line. I really feel like I was picked up and carried. So I just wanted to express my gratitude. Thank you so very much, both of you. That's what's possible. And honestly, that's what you deserve as a leader. You deserve to feel like you are also held. You are holding and carrying so much. But who's holding you? I want you to pause with that and actually ask that. Hopefully the Lord is, right? Like he is carrying you. And we also need other humans to be surrounded with. You're not meant to do it all on your own. So Anna, I'd love for you to share what this has looked like and what you've observed.
Yeah, when you've been sold or invited into support in the past, I have had this experience, and maybe you have too, where You may have been sold into shiny coaching packages that turn into expensive disappointments, or it just left you with a lot more to do or to change everything. Or you've entered into programs that promised transformation, but only gave you the templates. It told you what you do, but it didn't really walk with you in how to do it, or in the roadblocks that happen when you try to do something differently. Or maybe you've been pressured to say yes when it wasn't financially prudent for you, and you were pressured to not take the time to do it. We don't do that here. And this is part of explaining how you deserve to experience this differently, and not handing over your whole business, but someone who can help you to see the big picture together and help you to sort through the chaos and help you to reclaim your capacity and make your agency, really. Because when you lose that, when you start losing sight of everything and we go into that reaction mode, we start to lose a lot of agency and things are just happening to us in the business rather than us being the authority and the guide within that space. And so the kind of support that we're in alignment with is first plugging immediate leaks in time, energy, and money, simplifying or restructuring your offer so you can feel good about it again, helping to gain clarity on messaging so that it actually lands with the right people, reorganizing the team or bringing on a next hire, creating short-term stopgaps to give you relief while building the long-term plan at the same time, and really importantly, processing the emotional load and shame that's been keeping you stuck and increasing the emotional maturity around this work. So whether you're in the thick of preparing for a major event or launch right now, feeling that pressure of I can't keep doing it this way, or realizing that your mission needs more than just you to carry it forward, we would love to do this with you and to meet you in the chaos and the messiness. But even if it's not us, please use this as a guide to prudently determine what kind of support that you desire, because it's not good for us to be alone. And you don't need to be more ready or more together or more organized or more clear before getting the help and support that you deserve. It just takes, and I say just, sometimes this is difficult. It takes choosing to pause and to open your hands and to say yes to the kind of support that meets you where you are. And this is what we do, not to give you more to do, to walk with you in it and to help uncover the aligned, sustainable path forward.
We hope you loved today's episode. If so, would you take a moment to share it with a friend?
If you haven't already, come connect with us human to human at apostolicfruit.com/connect. When you're ready, we'd love to support you more deeply.
May the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you,
and turn his face toward you and give you peace.